try it with
Okay.
my own stuff. I can fire something up and just try the steps that you do and see if my machine can handle it.
Okay.
So
it's not all that difficult, and frankly, it's probably a good exercise for me to go through this stuff anyway, because I've been writing down little scribble notes. It looks like that for the Zoom setup for the lowbrows, and it's like I went through them the other day and I figured out what was wrong and I added some things. So I think I got the procedure down well enough. I need to turn that into a real document with maybe some screenshots and stuff. But aside from that, I think it's pretty decent. Good. It's not hard.
So
you were looking to basically use Zoom or something like that, and then
use a live stream. Use OBS to push it to YouTube.
Yeah. Now, honestly, OBS doesn't really give a crap about what program you're like doing the meeting from. All it does is capture a screen, and you have a long list of stuff you can pick from, which we can show that. I think what I'm going to do is just show my other screen, so anything that happens on that screen, you'll be able to see. So
okay, because I know I can give OBS I know I can give it a key so that it it can set up a live stream.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just go through what I do for lack of anything better to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to figure out that this little computer I'm using has its limits, but it should be enough to be able to do this.
Okay.
So let's see. So let me go ahead and fire up the same stuff you've got running. So you've got OBS Studio.
Basically, yeah, this is, and you know what? I'm going to stick this in a separate window and get rid of that. So now it makes it a lot clearer what's going on. Hey. So this is YouTube Studio, just studio.youtube.com. And you have a number of channels you go to. Like right now, I've got, YouTube has got this notion of accounts. And you seeing this screen okay, by the way?
Oh, I'm seeing it fine.
Okay. So right now I've got like the University Lowbrows, I got the Orange Can, Monroe Big Band. We tried doing one thing here. But I think right now it's set to the Lowbrows, which probably as good as anything. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to probably end up deleting this to get done.
All right, so I have my...
So what, I mean, you can set up like a church account or something like that.
Yep, I have my church account right here.
So you probably have, under YouTube Studio, it probably shows up. And it looks like
you've got your accounts. I'm looking to see recent subscribers, latest content. Oops.
It'll appear under that little icon for your user
account. So if I switch account, let's see what happens. Lowbrow, Midwest Scratch. I guess I got to add the, let me see if I can add the,
the add account should be at the bottom of that same menu.
Yep. Sign in to continue to YouTube. Sure. Sure. I think it knows my Google password, so it's a shortcut. Yeah, I want to see if I can add the church account. So there'll be a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, well, I can continue talking.
Yeah, just continue on.
So
I can watch what you're doing because you're recording it.
Yep, I'm recording it local, and I'll share it up ASAP. So usually, whenever we stop the meeting, then the recording will stop. So okay, with that, usually, I mean, this dashboard I find kind of useless, but in videos, you've got the things you've uploaded. So these are things that I've recorded previously and uploaded for public consumption. And then you have this live category, which is where, like I ran this one live here, the July 17th. And because I mean, I left it there. It's like, this is a complete meeting. And I think with this Friday's meeting, I might record locally just to ensure that we have a copy, or to the cloud. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But then, you know, the YouTube, whatever we do, like on the 21st here, which I got to change the speaker, which maybe, well, yeah, it's probably a good thing to do this, but yeah, to do that. And then each one can just be edited. And this is going to be Oni said something like that. What is his name?
Yep, that's it. Hafedh. Hafedh.
EDH. Okay.
That's it.
And what was he talking about against?
Astrophotography with a DSLR.
Astrophotography with a DSLR. There. And so basically, you know, title, the description, that kind of stuff is easy. I have a thumbnail image that I keep handy. Importantly, on this one, if you say no, it's not made for kids, it enables you to turn on the chats and other things. If you say yes, made for kids, even
then
though
it'll block the chats, even though this is okay, I understand that.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
And then if it's not made for kids, then they confirm this or something. It's it's weird. I don't quite understand their thinking.
Well, it's for liability.
Oh, I'm sure. So yeah, and then you can pick, like we have lowbrow talks and stuff, so it'll get in the right playlist. And all this stuff you can change however, and I think there's some other stuff to fill in for this junk. And then down here, enable live chat. That is able to be put in there to replay. Nah. But you know, these are just options. You can choose however you like it.
All right, so setting it up in YouTube Studio.
YouTube Studio is the place to set this stuff up now. I think they have a classic format that you can always go back to, but you know, they're probably going to discontinue it soon. So now you can see the meeting changed. I really don't like that it hides the title and all that after I hover over it. That's kind of
yeah.
So they show it as upcoming, blah blah blah. What I'm going to do, I think, is just create and under this create, somewhere I
think I ran into a memory limitation with my little screen, so that's not a good sign. Let's see here.
So what I'm going to do is just create a quick stream so that we can have something to plug into.
All right.
Reuse settings.
Okay, so you just clicked on that to create a new stream.
Yeah. Adrian test. Blah, blah, blah. It picks out one for... it basically picks out a video that you originally did as a template, and it keeps asking you about it. So like, just use it, and whatever settings you had will be fine.
All right.
Wednesday, 2:15. Now we're going to say 2:30 and start early. No, it's not made for kids, blah, 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 and then just create it. And it'll take a second to do that. Yeah, Adrian test, there we go. And notice this one's set up to be a streaming software. If you did a new, like to do a new complete stream or whatever, yeah, then it would default stream. I don't know what it's doing now. Let's not do this.
So I'm thinking it's going to provide I'm thinking it's going to provide a what is the word I want to say? A key that you can then.
Well, that's what we're getting to in here.
Yeah, they put for OBS.
Yeah, this key right here, that is where that's going to dump stuff. Now I know this key is different than what the one I've been using, which is why I'm kind of like, why are we here with an untitled default stream of some sort? It's like, I don't want to be here.
Oh.
And it's not really letting me.
I'll be looking over this and going, huh? Because what I'm trying to do at the same time is
channel videos. Here we go. Okay, and see here it created another meeting. Upcoming, blah blah blah. Adrian tests. No, this is the test one we wanted. So, and I think if we go and edit that one, yeah, okay.
All right, so you can create. No.
So once you get your thing created, and this will go back to the channel. This is basically all the videos. This is an upcoming video. And
okay.
And you know, there was some place where I thought, so I was thinking there was some place you could put that keys, because all of my keys tend to go to the same place. Permissions and setting. Yeah, I know that it'll allow you to edit the key once you go in and you're ready to stream. So in this case, I mean, if we go in view live in control room, analytics, and this is where, like, if you have one that's pre-scheduled, this is what I did to get the shareable link for like the low brows on Monday when I sent that out.
Get shareable link.
Yeah, that's the link that it just copies it to the clipboard, and then you can paste it in to your email or whatever for people. It's like, okay, go here for the meeting, and then
once you create the upcoming stream, you can right-click on it,
right,
in order to share it so that people know where to go.
Right.
When you.
And when you're creating it, I mean, you say go live and all that, and it'll ask you up here whether you want to schedule the stream or not. And that's the key part, to schedule it, because otherwise it'll just pick up something and go. Like this is under the manage thing. And it's a very, very confusing interface. And I think, yeah, the stream menu is where that came from.
Okay.
I kind of learning things about this thing, because I mean, manage doesn't like stream here. It's like, well, I guess that's going live, but this is where if you were to go into this meeting, then this would be the stuff for your meeting, and this would be where we look at this key here, which you can copy it out and
then send it into.
Right, and we'll remember 9Q22 for now. And then when we start up OBS, blinky, blinky, blinky. Okay, so OBS is also going to be looking for, this is what screen to capture. And when you add it, you can add any, like a display capture. Oh, come on. You can add it. Is it in here? I thought when you added it, window capture. Add existing. There was a pull down that you could get with all the different sources and windows that you had open.
And then you could send it to,
Here.
stream it to.
Yeah, and I got two displays here, so I can pick, one or the other, and it'll show me, which one I'm going to capture. So in here, this is the screen with you on it with the zoom set. And there's a way, and like with the zoom window, if I did the settings on that, yeah. For the zoom window, when you
show windows with empty names,
this is all of the windows and objects that the system sees. So down here on Zoom, you pick the Zoom meeting, which is the one it's already picking on.
Okay, the Zoom meeting window. Okay.
And you can see it down here, and you'll mess around. It's like you can switch.
Yeah, I'll have to mess around. So with
with this thing here, it's showing me this is the window that's capturing, which is, I guess it's the whole desktop actually, by the looks of it.
Finally, I did.
Yeah, that's the whole desktop that I got here. Come on, give me my mouse back. Thank you. Zoom meeting, I think that, but you can pick like the whole desktop, various applications. It's kind of like, yeah, and this is all Mac stuff, so your Windows machine probably has different names for everything that's on there. But
I'm pretty sure it'll be similar.
I mean, it looks like it's internal Zoom stuff, but because the systems are different, you might not see the same things. Anyway, that's how you pick the window. This one I sort of want to get rid of, I think, because that's confusing. That's going to mess me up, no doubt. So.
Boom. All right.
Because that's the one that I had to find before. And I'm not sure why it isn't.
All right, so the whole thing started with create, correct? Into YouTube. I finally got into the church live stream thing that I want, the church YouTube account. So you just click create and then you start following through with choosing your settings for your live video. And then you get a key.
And then you... The key is what we're looking at here, which I was about to go into in ODS. So
okay, so here's an interesting question.
Sure.
If I use Facebook Live to stream, then when I pick up so I run ODS, use Facebook Live to stream, then
you would pick the Facebook Live window.
Okay, so down there in the settings, there'd be a Facebook Live window. So let me pop open OBS, see if my machine even can run like that, because I think I actually ran into I may have run into a too much memory to do it issue with this. It's a Windows machine, but it's an ill-bitty Windows machine. It actually seems to context switch very well, but
apparently that Zoom thing just isn't working very well, so I'm going to get rid of that one.
Yeah.
Because now, you see, it's got like an active window. It's showing me what I'm going to see, and if I went into the settings of this one, I could probably, well, if I added a different one, I guess it would be a window capture, for instance. I'd probably show the different windows.
Yeah. So far, what I'm gathering is go to YouTube, set up the live stream, get a key, copy that key into OBS, somewhere for output, and then that's where I may have missed where you put that.
Yep. I haven't gotten there yet, actually. So you're
okay.
So in ODS, I just picked this window for display capture. That's the source window. I know you can do some other things like, you know, powerful, like real movie studio type presentations and things by switching cameras.
Yeah, you can switch your scene to, which I may try. I may just get
Yeah.
one picture for like a splash screen when I'm running and there's nothing happening, and then flip the switch to a connected camera that's looking at things, and you know, start the live stream.
Yeah, you can have crowd cameras. I mean, a gazillion different things. But
Yeah.
in ODS, in the settings menu, and I believe it's on the stream, this is where you show that key, and that 9Q22, that's the one I've been using. And that might change, like, so for your church videos, they might have a different key than, say, the lowbrow stuff. If I gave you this for the lowbrow, I mean, you could be broadcasting it as well.
I could be broadcasting my church to the lowbrow.
Well, it's gonna basically land in that spot for whatever, you know. This is how it matches up the two, you know, external versus internal sources. It's how you direct the input by using that key. These two, the service and the server, I didn't change from the default, so I just left it as is. It seems to work just fine.
Okay.
So that's all set up, and I think the output, you can change some of these things for the output, like the video. It complains a lot about the resolution differences, and it makes it seem bad, but I've messed around with it on Monday, and I switched to all kinds of different things, and it complains about all of them. So I don't really know what that's all about, but it's there. I think, I mean, that's one way. If it's picking a bad resolution, that's where you can pick up for, you know, what you're picking up versus what you're broadcasting at. That's where you can make those scaling changes. I haven't really messed with any of this other stuff. I mean, I haven't seen any differences or reasons that I have to go there. All this other stuff, this is all defaults that they had. The recording path, if you want to record it, you can do a recording from ODS as well as, you know, any of the other programs. So if maybe like Facebook Live doesn't allow you to record
checking
locally.
into right now. And
but like if Facebook Live didn't allow you to do the recording, you could use ODS to start the recording, which is down in here in the start recording button.
Okay, and then ODS would start.
ODS would do the capture to your disk instead of like Zoom or Facebook Live if they didn't do it. So you can kind of pick and choose where you want your output to come from. If you were doing like some things with the different scenes, which, you know, you may do for a church, which I could see where, you know, if you had like a boilerplate or some kind of default image, that maybe that's the scene you want to put in, and that's where you could have, like, you know, hey, let's take a break, there's some ads, or maybe a verse or a hymn or something to put the words up. You could probably use that to switch those things out. I haven't messed with that, so I can't tell you, you know, what it would do, but this allows you through this console to kind of pick and choose what video output. And if you're doing that kind of thing, then recording from ODS is probably the better idea. But they give you an idea, your frame per second and your CPU rate, all that kind of shit. So
yeah.
With that, we can basically start this. We can, so okay, you've pre-scheduled everything. Now comes presentation day. We've got ODS set up and ready to roll, and we're just going to start streaming. And you'll notice the OBS goes and does its thing, and soon here, we should see this screen here start to register with whatever we're seeing, which could be damn near anything. Oh, sorry. If you start your streaming, this will give you a preview.
Okay, of what's being seen.
It takes about 30 seconds to a minute to get all that stuff there. But now you're seeing what's on my laptop screen, which is being shared, and, you know, we can change this. And you see how
so So if I use the stream key, so I'm looking in live video, and it does give the option for a stream key, which means I can have OBS control what's actually doing the streaming, the source, the video input.
ODS is your basically your source of where you're broadcasting out to, and then by setting the key in ODS, you're telling it to broadcast to this particular spot in YouTube. So YouTube is the key is used as a receiver, and in ODS you're telling it what receiver you want to broadcast to. As you see right now, any changes I make on my screen, they first get in ODS, and then it broadcasts out to YouTube, and YouTube gives you the preview. Now, I still haven't actually gone live. When I go live here, then it'll start streaming out to YouTube.
Okay. So that's the...
So basically...
So I'm thinking so I'm thinking what I'm gonna have to do then is figure out the source of, because if the source is Facebook Live, then
you have to tell ODS in the source down here to tell it about the application window, or just capture the whole desktop. I do that with the low browse. I basically, like the Zoom meeting, I'll make it my full screen and then capture that screen so that I get maximum resolution, because my laptop's got higher resolution than my my larger desktop monitor actually. So
okay, so yeah, I could go video capture device.
Right.
I can go audio input, audio output, and I can go browser.
I think that's why I had it on a display capture, because I was capturing the entire display. But you do have to remember to like size your windows so they maximize the screen and stuff like that. But it makes for a lot more professional looking setup. So like these little windows off to the side here, they don't come off looking stupid.
Okay.
But, and I'm just noticing, you notice the screen here goes off into these gray regions. You may have to resize your windows so you catch everything. I just noticed that.
In other words, that's what gets set.
That's what gets sent out. So now you'll see the entire screen show up in the YouTube preview. Yeah, you can see it resized here. And that's one of those things you got to pay attention to as kind of the man behind the curtain.
Okay. Now, is it possible to split your output and go to two different things at once, or OBS only streams it to one thing?
I think right now, the way this is set up, I'm not aware of it going to separate places.
Okay. Because I see...
It'd be under the settings here, which your stream, you basically got one place. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, because what I'm seeing here is it may be possible that I can do, like you're doing, a display capture.
Now, if I
were to, so if I were to do the live stream,
if you had like multiple cameras or something, you could switch the displays from the OBS console to switch to those different things. Like if I turned that off and then turned on another one, for instance, then you could see that.
Yeah, then I can switch. However,
and let's just do
what I think's going to happen, because Facebook Live is a source that, and I'm looking to see if you had it in there, Facebook Live, but
yeah. So now I can turn off the display capture, make this one a full screen,
and then that becomes the.
And then I could switch between the two just by changing the little eyeball settings.
Yeah.
Which you'll see.
So just clicking on the eyeball, so you see what you want.
Yeah, you'll see it reflected here in the previews, easy enough. And it's I guess it's important to get that preview stuff set right.
Now, clicking on scene, does that also? Oh no, you can in sources you can click eyeball.
Well, let's see what they got in scene.
Because I think you can create a new scene.
But see, there's no. It's just it's like a placeholder, so I'm not really sure what that does.
Oh,
That'd be something to look up in their documentation.
So, okay.
On display capture, which I guess it shows you both display and window at the same time. And you can control audio output and all that kind of stuff. I mean, OBS it's actually a pretty cool program.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that. And now I'm getting my ideas as to how I might do this. I could either be the poor man who can't mix them all together and do Facebook Live.
I mean, that's what with the low brows, it's like I kind of set it up and let the remote person, once that speaker is going, life is easy because you just basically, whatever's going on that laptop screen, that's what's being broadcast. So whatever the speakers want to do, whatever we do to interact. And I think with the one meeting that you did there, you captured like your entire screen and not all of the screen was maximized or something like that weird. And there was more
when I did my test, so it didn't look
I had forgotten to mention that, yeah, you got to maximize the windows. And then when you do the display capture, and this is some of those little notes and all that. It's like, oh yeah. But, you know, it's, you do it 5 times. And, you know, I'm looking at my notes and I don't think I have, you know, maximize the window anywhere. I'll go through it when I type it up. But I gotta type those up soon because obviously, you should know what all this stuff is doing.
Yeah.
Probably somebody besides the two of us should know as well. If not having a digital document, I'd like to get some screen captures in there of each window. So as you're configuring it, you know, you can outline it, make it idiot proof. So that even Charlie could do it.
Right. You got it.
And I'm not saying that to be mean to Charlie. I'm just saying.
You're not. No, that's perfect.
It should be something that anybody could figure out just by walking through the instructions. So aside from that, just saying go live, which, I mean, right now, like that doesn't really matter. It just matters whether it's going to show up in YouTube or not. And you'll notice down here, the chat is active. So while things are going on, you could go live and have the chat going, which I think.
Okay, so if you go live, then that means the URL is now active and people can actually join and watch us do our thing. That shows you what you're seeing, which is nice because then you can preview it. I think you said this already. You preview it and make sure you're seeing what you're supposed to see.
And see, right now, the live display, it's showing you the stream and for, you know, how many users and all that kind of stuff were showing up. You can do all the mute things, all the stuff that you normally do here.
Yeah.
You can edit it while it's going live, but the chat is also active. So, you know, you could take questions, and that's usually where I glean the questions from is over there.
Right. And that we might try that for my church. We might allow them to chat in because that's become a part of the stream, is letting people chat in and say, hey, I'm enjoying Mass. So what will probably happen is I would probably go Facebook Live. The camera would actually be connected through Facebook Live, but then I would use OBS to basically capture what's going on through Facebook Live and push it to YouTube, because that may be the only way. Because if I tell OBS to push it to Facebook Live, then there's no other way then it's already going out to a different source. There's no way to then split that source out to YouTube. So I'll have to, so I wouldn't actually make a real video source.
I don't know. I don't know, how people do it, but this is what I figured out. So there
Yeah.
might be better ways. The other
So,
thing
but
I was
that,
going to show you too is after you get done with the stream. I mean, right now it's like, okay, ODS is broadcasting away. When you end the stream, this ends the YouTube portion of the
yeah.
recording. And at that time, okay, I've got 2 minutes in there, and then
Yep. And
now,
then you can post it.
well, now you can
Yep.
edit
That
it
looks
before you post it even. So
okay.
now we can go into the edit portion of it, and you'll see the whole video loaded up here.
Oh, and then you chop it up based on the way you want to do it.
Say at the beginning of the lowbrow meetings, it's like, okay, there's a bunch of chit chat at the beginning that I don't give a crap about.
So you'll crap it out to there, and then you'll drop it depending on when you, and then you click trim. Okay, so it makes it
trim the beginning and end of portions of it. So okay, there's a bunch of crap at each side, and
splitting things. Okay, that, yeah, and that I would probably look to not do as much. But
and nothing is saved. And this is the part that I can't remember how you save, but I think it always wants you to save it as a new video so you don't lose your old one. And that's
okay.
That's a little annoying, but
yeah, because once you do that, then you have to give somebody a new URL for the final product.
Yeah, the final product will have a different URL.
Yeah.
But see, they'll always show up in your channel videos, both of them for that matter. So you may have to delete one.
So the live view will be, now the old video gets saved, right? So that live view with all the chit chat,
the old view
there.
Yeah, the old view is all there. So there's no problem with that, but it's like if you save it here, if you chop it up, then you can make a second version that's a little cleaner or post-processed. You can download it and use, like if you got iMovie or one of the Apple programs, you could chop it up.
Chop it up even further, add audio, do what you want to do with it. Yeah, okay. So that's
from here, from this spot, you can do just simple editing, which amounts to trimming, and if there's any other little imperfections, you can usually find it. They allow you to, I think, zoom in on the time and stuff. So,
yep.
It's
and it actually, shows. Now I noticed in Facebook Live, it actually gives you a URL that if you didn't want to send it to YouTube, because people are like, well, send it to YouTube, and you tell them, no, just go here and you'll see it, and you don't have to. You don't have to rely on YouTube. It actually gives you a live. That's something we're not using. For us, we would use YouTube for the astronomy stuff. But Facebook Live, which is what the church is using, there's another option of just using Facebook Live and me using OBS to control the video and everything, and then have that pushed to Facebook Live.
Using OBS isn't strictly necessary to get a recording, because I could basically do a recording in the cloud or on local with Zoom. Zoom does have the ability, if it's in the cloud, it will give you a URL and people can view that for up to, I think, 180 days without finding storage for it elsewhere. I haven't really mentioned that at all to anybody because, like, I really don't want it sticking up in my account because these are gigabytes.
Right.
So I've gone, it's like, I'm going to download it, or, broadcast. If we're broadcasting with ODS, the download is sort of happening live. It's arriving at YouTube, which then we can, play with.
Yeah. And it's a live, it's the live experience thing. It's not,
Facebook, I could give out the URL for the Zoom meeting and people could view that immediately as soon as it was, ready on there, which is usually, within, 10 minutes. It's pretty quick.
Yeah, I think more people are familiar with YouTube, so that's where their default sort of, well, that's where we want everything to go, sort of thing.
Part of me wants to do the recording on Zoom and use that to record to the cloud or wherever for just the presentation part of it. And that way we can build a library of presentations without having to go back to these videos, make copies, and you download, and like it just seems like a lot more straightforward to run the recorder in Zoom and have Zoom capture just the presentation portion of it for the lowbrow,
Yeah.
that is. I'm going to try doing that, and I wish it wouldn't announce to everybody that this meeting's being recorded. That's annoying.
Yeah, and I think that's a legal thing.
Yeah, grumble. Now,
so because it gives you the option to leave the meeting once it's being recorded. So if you don't want to be recorded, you're out.
So now under our live meetings, it was already streamed. It's in history now. It's not scheduled anymore. It's had one view. We can view it in YouTube. There's comments that you can view and play with. It's got analytics, a bunch of other crap. But now this video is official. And people could probably get a shareable link and
there we go.
Do whatever. So that's pretty much the bulk of it. But like this thing, the channel videos, it's a little confusing because you don't get like, your playlist. If I look on here, there's lowbrow talks and meetings. Those are the two playlists we have, which is now, these are all the things we've done. I don't think I said it on the other one. Yeah, this one has yet to be, it's scheduled.
That's yet to be done. So you've set it up. So all you have to do is
But this is back in YouTube, so.
Yeah. So will you have to go back and look at that key again in order to give it to OBS when we do our meeting?
No, I didn't change the key at all, actually. And I haven't changed the key for any of our stuff.
So okay, so it's the same. So it becomes the same key every single time.
I think the key is related to my, like this Kopmanis at Gmail. That's where I've done all my video. And I think that's where the key lies. It doesn't lie with any of these. Whatever I'm logged into at the time that is accepting a stream, I think that's where it goes. But I could be wrong. It could be that, University Astronomers is got the key for everything. And that's the only one I've actually used. I haven't, Orange Can, I haven't actually broadcast to because it's like, this is more than my Windows laptop can handle.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm learning how well my Windows laptop can handle stuff, and I'm kind of glad I am doing the video using my tablet because I don't think it could do Zoom video and other stuff that I've been messing around with.
Oh, I stopped the streaming from OBS. You should remember to do that, otherwise it's squirting out into the internet constantly. Yeah. Because I don't know, you can't hear it, but my the fan in my laptop is running pretty nice right now.
Yeah, that's.
But I thought it might be an issue with bandwidth. The Wi-Fi that we have here with like Comcast, it's more than able to handle everything. It was saying before that it had an excellent connection. So it's like, hey, if YouTube thinks it's excellent, then we're good to go. I'll just use Wi-Fi and not worry about it. Yeah, stop the streaming. And then from there, now OBS is shut down. You just got Zoom and, those things going on. So usually it's like once the meeting breaks up, that's when I shut all the stuff down and close the lid on everything. So
yeah.
I don't like to lose stuff if people are still chatting. And I think the one meeting, Don stuck around for another half hour, 40 minutes talking, and you might have been in that one too. And that's probably this 2 hours, 31 minutes. It wasn't a 2-hour meeting. So I was like, yeah, those things can happen, and that's fine. I don't feel bad about capturing it, but if anybody wanted to see the presentation, it's in the middle of that mess. So one half dozen the other.
Yeah.
But
all right. Well, excellent.
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that gives me a lot of, I don't know where my camera, it's right, my camera's over here now because I flipped this thing. But nope, that gives me a lot of good info for what I might do with my live stream. It looks like having the source on the Windows machine and then pushing it out to YouTube is the way to do it, which means
Well,
have to decide how that's going to work, because
and literally you could have, I mean, you could do the OBS on a different machine that's than what is hosting. You're somewhat at the whims of whoever is hosting the meeting to do the right thing from a presentation standpoint. And that's why if the host
as
does
long as
the sharing, then you have control over who's sharing screens and what happens and when it's,
that's a
you know,
good
full
point.
screen versus not.
That might actually make it easier, because if I log into, so if I do the live stream with, you know, with one camera, log into the live stream with the computer and do OBS to capture, because then I can go full screen, use OBS to capture my full screen and send to YouTube.
Yeah.
That would be it's a hokey way to do it, but it's a good, it would work as long as the stream itself is good.
When it gets down to it, I mean, ODS or OBS is simply capturing a screen on wherever it's running. And whether that screen is something that's coming in off the net, it doesn't care.
Yeah, it's going to capture it,
really
and it's going to send it. So so basically whatever we see from the video, that's what it's going to capture.
Right.
So then it becomes,
if you weren't the person running OBS wasn't the host, then the person who is the host could alter the way the screen looks and do some ugly things.
And then all of that's going into
and
YouTube. You don't
you
have
no
much
control over any of that. So
right. Well, that's when, if you're doing OBS, that's when your one scene is whatever they're broadcasting, and then you put a technical difficulty screen to throw in.
I gotta find one of those.
If you see them doing something, you put the lines up, and I think as long as you're running OBS, you can change the source or whatever to we better put something else in.
I mean, as the OBS person, you definitely want to be able to do that, and maybe having the different scenes or maybe a different camera or a different window available. I mean, you could have a window on your machine that's all ready to go with that image, and when you need to flip it to it, whap.
Yep, you instantly go. Yep.
It's like, we have technical difficulties, and
please stand by. So no, that makes sense. I think so now I have a test that I can do using OBS, sending it out. And
I'll save this.
That might work.
I'll save this Zoom recording and maybe just post it up on YouTube under my personal or something and give you a URL for it.
Okay, that works.
If it's small enough, I mean, it might be, the MP4 might be small enough just to share it someplace, like on the GLAC drive or something. Yeah,
and then I can look at it and get some
OBS tutorial.
You gave me just enough information to be able to know, okay, I've got a couple different ways I can stream.
Yeah.
If we're streaming it the way that we're doing it now, I could use my computer to, like I said, I could simply join the stream and then push it to YouTube. So as long as it's a good stream and the volume's good, then that is what will go to YouTube. So we have a way to do it the way we're doing it now. Our challenge is I'm going to be moving to the balcony, and live streaming with an iPhone all the way from the back of the church is going to make everybody tiny. So that's where I would have to decide if I try and live stream using Facebook Live and then have OBS capture that screen and send it to YouTube. I have to hope that there's enough power. I'm going to have to test it, because there has to be enough power in my
laptop.
In my laptop to be able to do that. Yeah. I would still have it capture from a camera and capture its audio from like incoming audio. Facebook Live would be handling that piece. OBS would be capturing the results of that and sending it. So that's the tougher part.
That's one strategy, is like set up your camera on the floor closer to the altar area or whatever, and use that camera to pick up sound and video, or that computer and camera combination anyway. And then from the balcony, run your OBS session with a more powerful laptop that can pull in and push out at the same time. Something like that.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. It's
that way you can get the view that you need off the camera, and as long as everybody leaves your shit alone, then you're good to go.
You're fine to go. Yeah.
But
yeah.
People are invariably not good at that.
No, they're not. And the other thing with the camera is capturing everything is tough, because people have grown accustomed to me following our priest as he does his homily, or moving to the lector, moving to the choir. And I don't have the remote control hookup to do that from from a control panel. I know I could set up a couple cameras to point to either with
you still could,
and then wire it all up and get it going. That would be one idea.
You could have the OBS session running, in a back corner someplace, and you could still be, manhandling the camera and whatnot, and following the priest or whatever. So
the only thing that would do though is
shut it off when you get done.
Yeah, the only thing that would happen is it would cut out one of the sources that we would be using, unless I did Facebook Live to do one and then did OBS as two different presentations, which my goal is to have a single presentation and to have both the Facebook Live folks be able to see it and have the YouTube stragglers come walking in. And that allows me to post it to YouTube, post it to both actually. YouTube would have the copy of that. So yeah, it's something I'll test. I think I have a way to do it.
The only thing you just play with it and see what works and what doesn't. Maybe doing multiple screens and all that is just a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
OBS, I think it does have some online documentation, but I don't remember how good or bad it really was. But I did find a few pieces that enabled me to do what I needed to do and be done with it. But all public domain software is it's kind of a dice roll when it comes to documentation.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing too, for astronomy, I do have Stellarium on my Windows machine and Zoom. So for the astronomy, I'm just simply planning on doing a Zoom